to the interview session today. And this is very important for me to tell you guys. As part of our commitment, to advancing meaningful legal discourse, we will have a very interactive session today. And because of that, PTH Editorial Committee will be launching its first bulletin, and the bulletin is called Platinum's Brief. So this publication of the bulletin, it is for, to promote thought leadership, to give some insight into the internal structures of PTH, as well as conversations around shaping issues in areas of corporate practice and legal practice, not just in Nigeria, but also globally. I'm Chisom Agbafor. I'm a senior associate at Platinum and Taylor Hill. And I'm also the editor-in-chief of the PTH Editorial Committee. I'm not alone, of course. I'm here with my colleague, Mercy Babatunde. She is also a senior associate at Platinum and Taylor Hill and the deputy editor of PTH Editorial Committee. You're welcome, Mercy.
Thank you.
All right, so this is the most important part. We have a very special guest in our midst today. He is a distinguished lawyer, a well-known lawyer. He is known for his expertise in capital markets, corporate transactions, dispute resolution as well. He has handled high-level complex transactions around the legal industry, different fields. He is known not just in Nigeria, but also internationally. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Mr. Tope Adebayo. You're welcome, sir.
Welcome, sir.
Okay, sir, let's just jump into it. First of all, we would like to know, maybe you share with us your journey, right? What has your journey been like? How did you get into corporate practice? How did you, from when you were called, what made that interest in corporate practice? You could share with us.
Without wasting your time, because I know that we're going to look at different areas of practice today. I started my legal practice with the firm of Olaniwa Ajayi and Co. then, now Olaniwa Ajayi LP. And as you may know, is a firm that was broken into several departments: corporate, commercial department, project finance, litigation and dispute resolution. And so it was my first, working. So I cut my teeth as a legal practitioner in the firm. It was the first law firm I worked in my life. I started the practice with them in 2004, March to be specific. And in that firm, I learned that lawyers could actually use law to enable, business. So that was the first time I learned that law is beyond what we were taught in school. Law actually, is not only an instrument to enable governance alone, but it's also an instrument to enable businesses to expand businesses and to ensure that the society actually become what it is. So that was where I picked the interest in areas outside of the traditional litigation. It was my experience in Olaniwa Ajayi was where I first learned that lawyers could actually become, comfortable financially without seeing the four wall of a courtroom. And I left that place to work with Afe Babalola, where I deepened my knowledge, in litigation and ADR practice. And after then, I came in to start Tope Adebayo and Co. in 2008, and we've been growing ever since. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. That was inspiring. Your journey, it's really inspiring. So can you tell us a little bit of the way you handle transactions in capital market space? Because I know that some young professionals out there who are looking to go into that space, they want to know how to, especially in terms of investor confidence, regulatory compliance and all of that. How do you handle the capital market space?
Okay, so capital market space, simply put, is a space that is created for businesses to access long-term capital in order to not only enable the business but to improve, the business, because the lifeblood of every business is capital, is finance, and that finance is made available, by with capital market. What do lawyers naturally do in capital market? Lawyers act for both the company that require finance in the capital market and also the financier, the people making the money available. Now, what do? We ensure, as lawyers, that every documentation, go through the highest level of scrutiny that is required to enable the documentation to pass all the regulatory and legal, requirements that have been set by the regulator, the market regulator, the Securities and Exchange Commission. In this. So what we do as lawyers is, number one, we carry out requisite due diligence, and then to enable us advise participants, about the company into which money is being invested, and also to ensure that the company had been following or complying with requisite regulations and law. Because you cannot just carry your money and put it in a company that has defaulted, on its tax obligation, that has defaulted on its reporting obligation to the Corporate Affairs Commission, that has defaulted on, and some of these defaults can actually lead to fines. Some of default can attract fines that can drain the capital that you are putting into the business. So what we do as lawyers is to look at the law and say, within the precinct of the law, this company has been maybe fully compliant, maybe to this particular extent, or compliant. So we just have to show the level of compliance so that whoever is putting money in the company will know what the money is being put into. So that's what we've been doing. And as a finance lawyer, our advantage over other lawyers is we understand finance. We take time to study principles of finance, accounting principles, because you cannot properly function in an industry you do not understand. So we've gone out of our way to study the industry, to understand their language, and then so that we can use the law that we know to then apply to what we understand, and then help our client to make the best decision. Because by right advice, a company that's starting with capitalization of $1 billion, if that company has access to a very good finance lawyer, the finance lawyer can guide the company to use what will have otherwise lay fallow, to raise funding to increase the capitalization of the company from 1 billion to as much as 100 billion. It's just the ability of the lawyer to know how to use legal instruments and legal protected, legally available, measures, to help the business to grow. Thank you.
So one thing I caught from what you answered was the fact that as lawyers, we don't just study law, we actually go to study probably the industry of our clients, which is you have to study finance itself.
That is why lawyers are said to be learned.
Yes, you have to
learned. You have to know everything.
So I really like that. So I want you to come from the perspective. You've spoken from the perspective of lawyers. I want you to come from the perspective of investors themselves and companies. So what you see, what are like the recurring pitfalls that companies and investors face when they are trying to navigate the capital markets framework? And I also want you to pay attention to the fact that, of recent, especially even the Gen Zs, they kind of they've been more interested in buying stock these days. A lot of people are saying, okay, go and buy this stock, go and buy this stock. So some of them don't even understand what is going on. They just, probably because of the noise about a certain company, they just go and then put their money inside. They don't even have a lot of understanding about that. So I want you to give us, what are those pitfalls, what are those dangers, that companies and investors can face when they are navigating the capital market framework?
Okay, I think one thing that we need to realize is that for people that buy shares in capital market, lawyers are not in the best position to advise because we are not financial advisors. We are legal advisors. So we are not in the best position to advise you as to the stock to buy. But we have understanding of what to look at. The balance sheet of the company, the asset and liability of the company, that will enable you know the capitalization of the company. By the time you deduct asset from liability, you'll be able to know, what the equity of the company is. Now, the prospect of the company, because some company may have negative balance sheet and yet has better prospect than the company with positive balance sheet. So it's all about you studying the industry, but it's not really our forte as lawyers to give financial advice. But for investors who are looking into making bulk purchase of equity in a company, what lawyers do is to go into the company, check the company's compliance with laws and regulation. You must have heard that there was a time MTN was asked to refund money into Nigeria economy. Now, that is a pitfall for investor into that company. For example, let's say you've invested in MTN before that time, that was in 2019, and you did a huge investment without checking whether or not they've been fully compliant with requisite law, and then after investing, the regulator comes and says, this company has been defiant, with respect to our regulation. Therefore, the company should be made to pay this amount, to refund it to the economy. Refunding it is going to deplete whatever investment you must have made. But legal due diligence has potential, the potential to do what? To expose all those. So that's where lawyers come in, especially for investors who are going into a company, want to make bulk purchase of shares and major transaction, not the little money that you want to buy 10,000 shares, you want to buy, no. But when you really want to, let's say you want to invest in Dangote refinery and you are bringing in $20 billion or you are bringing in $5 billion, it's a major transaction. You have to get your lawyers, you have to get your financial advisors, you have to get all of them on the table. You have to come up with a term sheet. You have to sign term sheet with the owners of the company. You have to come up with the transaction structure. All those things have to happen. You have to be in place.
Thank you very much, sir. So I want us to move a little bit away from the capital market space. Let's look at what is currently happening right now, especially the fact that we're already in a digital space. Like the world is currently going digital, and then there's the noise about artificial intelligence. So some weeks back, some fintech companies actually let go of some of their employees because they already had like certain AI automations that were doing, those AI automations were doing what those employees were doing. So do you see that happening in the legal space? And also, if you see that happening in the legal space, how do you think lawyers can take advantage of AI automation? Same with law firms as well. Law firms, how do you think law firms and lawyers can take advantage of AI automations to help their legal practice?
Well, I think to benefit of experience, AI will only assist us to the extent of maybe helping you come up with drafts. But for lawyers that do not want to mislead his clients, reliance on AI to render legal advice is suicidal. You know, I was in a meeting recently with a board of a company, and then the MD was reading to me what submitted a memo for the board to approve. I happened to be a part of the board, and I asked the MD, "Where did you get this advice?" And he said, she told me she got the advice from AI. And she went on, and then she was able to source it from AI. And I said, "Come, if we rely on this, by the time this step is challenged in court, and we lose the case, and the company is asked to pay billions in damages, AI is not going to come to our rescue." You know, and by the time we came to check Nigerian law, we discovered that AI was wrong. AI was wrong. So, I don't know whether AI will get to the level of a human being. You know, it's not there yet, and I don't see how AI will get there. There are issues that you need to sit down and feel the pulse of the person on the other side before you can resolve. You want to reach a settlement that will advance the cause of your client. AI is not going to help you. I don't know how AI is going to assist you, because really, if you want to succeed in legal practice, you must think results. You must be a lawyer who understands how to get outcome. You must be outcome focused, you know, because some of us lawyers, because we don't have knowledge of finance and we don't know the way money works, we major in minor and minor in major. And what do I mean? Instead of you to advise your client to settle a case, get $1 billion today, you know, and move on and build the business, you will continue to fight in court for 5 years. The business of your client will die, and after dying, both you and your client will suffer because you will not be able to pay your fee. The business will die, workers will lose their job. So, but a commercially minded lawyer, you know, who has capacity to critically think, will look at it and say, is it not better for me to salvage the business of my client, get this 1 billion, let it be injected to the business, and let the company continue to live rather than stay in court for years, you know? So AI cannot, for example, come to that kind of judgment now. It's not possible. But that does not mean AI will not do its job. But we're in a dynamic world. The world is so dynamic that it will be very difficult, if not impossible, for AI to catch up. You understand, with what is happening in the world. You know, I'll give an example. Recently, some people came up with this idea that once creditors, once they appoint a receiver manager, that receiver manager will now be the entity, you know, legally qualified to appoint lawyers for the company, you know, it is managing. So what that means is that even when the company wants to challenge the appointment of the receiver, the company cannot challenge the appointment of the receiver. So that became, I don't know how it came, but it became a law at a point, you know, and the matter was challenged to Supreme Court. So up to like 2 weeks ago, that was the law. The Court of Appeal upheld it. But Supreme Court has reversed it now. You know, so if you are relying on AI and you advise your client that this is the law, AI will have misled. So law is dynamic, it changes.
But would you say that you have tried maybe using AI before, maybe to do legal research, or
Help
would you say you encourage your staff, you know, to use it just for maybe research purposes?
Yes, it can assist. It can only assist, but it cannot replace your work as a lawyer. You know, only lazy lawyers rely on it fully. I must say yes. Only lazy lawyers fully rely on it. You look at it, you read it, and you ask yourself, does this align with what I know in law? Then you still need to do the further work by doing what? By going into the law and checking what the law says.
Okay, so what would you say, because I mean, you have gone a long way in the legal field, So what is that decision that you made earlier on in your career? You feel that this would actually help young lawyers who want to start up their profession. So what is like the decisions that have made the biggest career impact for you?
So when I started practice, I remember getting opportunity to work in an insurance company, and the insurance company was going to pay me more than double the salary I was meant to earn in a law firm. But it didn't appeal to me at all. Why? Because I knew that the first thing any young lawyer must seek and prioritize is experience. Because there's a difference between theory and practical. What you learned in school, In fact, when the home says that the prophecy of what the court can do, in fact, and nothing more pretentious, is the law. So that means that there's a priority on practical application of the law that that's why professors of law are not the best lawyers around. Because they know theory, they can talk about jurisprudence, they can talk about when they get to court, they get confused because the practical. So, and if you don't interact with the real law, if you don't have opportunity to be exposed to practical application of the law that you read in school, you are as good as a lecturer in a university who just learned the theory of law. And so I see most lawyers, you're graduating now, always posting this, posting that online, and they don't have depth. Why? Because the people no longer spend time on acquiring, the knowledge and the experience, that you require for clients to trust you. Because lawyers are like doctors. You can't carry yourself and give yourself to a quack, knowing fully well that this person is a quack, is not a qualified doctor. The same way as lawyers, for people to trust you, number one, you must have a pedigree. Pedigree is where have you worked before? And that's why I see law firms that are not building their name and image, doing a lot of disservice to people that work with them. Because when you work with a firm, and that firm is not known, is just making money, but is not ready to invest in the practice, what the firm is doing is a disservice not only to the firm, but to the people that are passed through the firm. Because there's a way name enables you wherever you go. Where did you work before? You mention the name. You say you work in Shell. The person that works in Shell may not be better than someone that is working on an own oil company. But Shell has built name based on the commitment of some people in the past. And that name is now, when you put it behind your CV, it's like speaking for you anywhere you go. So the same thing with legal practice.
Okay.
Okay. So in terms of visibility, because you mentioned it, right? So because in terms of getting clients for the young ones, you mentioned they always they go online and all of that. So what is your own take on visibility? Because for lawyers to get clients now, a lot of people tend to just let's go on social media, let's publicize ourselves, we do educational posts or something like that. So what is your own take on that? Do you feel that, the way things were done maybe in the early 20s on how lawyers were getting clients compared to now, what is your own take on visibility?
So I fully support lawyers to take advantage of the opportunity provided by social media to give their businesses visibility. But it must not be bubble upon bubble. You are telling the world that you are very good in capital market. Meanwhile, you don't have knowledge and expertise in capital markets. And then a client briefs you, and then you bungle the case of the clients. And then your name goes out there as lawyer, as law firm who doesn't know, it's onion, and then before you know what's happening, they can even begin to write bad reviews about you. So as good as visibility is, I think you must first ask yourself, if today somebody comes to me and gives me this brief in respect of this area of practice, am I sure that I have the requisite capacity to handle the brief? If the answer is yes, give yourself visibility there. So let capacity and knowledge in the field that you are projecting let it come first. Let it precede what I call visibility. Do you understand the point? Because if it doesn't, everything will come crashing, right before your presence. But what social media has done now is, because in those days you may know all the law, you may be the best lawyer in capital market, and nobody will know. Has now breached that gap. My advice to young lawyer is they should be careful the image they say. But at any rate, if you really look at practice, this profession is a profession of trust. If social media does it, I know law firm that will be if you check law firms in Nigeria, they will be the number 1 or 2, but they are not the law firm doing best in Nigeria. If you look at it, they may not have more than 10 lawyers, but they are pushing a lot of narrative on social media. So when they've enabled themselves on Google, what do you call this to them, on SEO, they've optimized their search engine, they've done search engine optimization so well that if you Google, stay anywhere in the world, I've tried it, the name will come first or second or third. So if social media really does it, they will be the best law firm. But when they are really talking about first tier, you can't find them. Second tier, you can't find them. Third, you can't find them. The social media tier, their number 1 tier is social media. So what that means is that, assuming they have now been able to combine that huge social media presence with capacity, by now they'll be the best. Because they've been maintaining that number 1, number 2, number 3 slot for years. And that means a lot of clients will have briefed them. But if they are not now still doing as well as they should, in fact, Lord Denning, Lord of the Road said, far it be from me to know what the law.
Definitely. Thank you, sir. So my next question flows from what you just answered and what you said earlier about lawyers being results driven. So what would you define, or what is your own perspective of impact? I mean, as a lawyer, what is impact in your legal profession, impact to your client as well? Or generally as a lawyer, what would you say is defined as impact in their own space? You say, if you see a lawyer and you say, okay, this lawyer has made an impact, what exactly is that?
So, it's like, is it Justice Kayode Show that said that justice is not a one-way traffic? He said it's not even a two-way traffic. He says it's a three-way traffic. Number 1, the justice to the society, justice to the accused, and justice to the victim of the crime. So when you are looking at legal profession also, I will say it is about three-way traffic. You are looking at impact with respect to outcome that you give to your client. You are looking at impact with respect to outcome that you give to your staff, people working in the firm, and then you're also looking at impact that you give to the society. You know that if you continue this litigation, your client business is likely to die. And you know that if you advise your client to cut a deal, that the business will survive and the client will do better, than it is doing now. But because you want to keep, ramping up your hourly billing, you refuse to advise your client to cut a deal and move forward that you're handling for the client. That's number 1. Number 2, so that's the kind of outcome I mean. Outcome that will make the client say, thank God for this lawyer. I remember there was a brief we handled recently, and I looked at the way the matter was going, and I told my client that you are dealing with a crook, and a crook can file 30 cases You can't, in fact, Warren Buffett said, you can't have a good deal with a bad person. Yeah, if you have a very beautifully written agreement with a crook, he will be finding one action or the other, especially in a climb like ours. So I saw what he was doing, and I said to my client that, come, if we are not careful, the asset that is the subject matter, of this suit, will deteriorate. The other person is like the prostitute in the Bible, who doesn't care whether the child is divided or not. You are the owner of the child. Don't let the child die. Don't let the child die. So I said, they asked me, what do we do? I said, we need to take this step, we need to take this step, we need to take this step, And now the asset will start, functioning very soon, And the day they were handing the asset to my client, one of them was shedding tears and was saying, I want to thank Barrister Tope Adebayo, that if not for his firm and how they have guided us in all this asset would have deteriorated. For me, that is impact. Briefed us here, gave us a brief, and then he's a friend, and I felt, let me guide you on the way you run your company. After some time, I said, don't worry, we just said to people, we don't need long, we don't need, so we are going, so it's part of the, don't worry, all this. So that's one challenge. That's one challenge. The second challenge is that most of us were not taught the business of law in the law school. We just go to school to learn law. The business aspect of law, most of us, we just stumble on ideas on how to run businesses, and so it's affecting legal practice generally. Then the third one, I believe, is exposure. Most of us are not exposed. This figure I roll out now, most Nigerians don't know that there are law firms that make £1 billion in it. It's more than the budget of Ondo, Ekiti, and or should combine together. Yeah, it's online. Go and check. You can fact check me. But yeah, so when I see politicians running, I say, law has more potential than these. But the wealth of the nation must be unlocked first. And the only way to unlock the wealth of the nation is to liberalize opportunities and let everybody have opportunity. You can think, you can do your business, you make money there. That's how those nations grow. So those are for me, the issues I believe that legal profession is confronting.
Thank you, sir. So I think my last question actually still comes from what you just explained. In a way, it's more like, the disadvantage the legal profession is facing because of the kind of environment and economy we are. So, but then, looking at the opposite, what do you think what's the hope? What hope do you have for the legal profession in Nigeria, like in the coming years, judging from all your experiences, what you have seen, and then what you think? So what do you see, or what gives you hope about the legal profession in Nigeria?
If I have not been more hopeful about legal profession than I am now, because you can see that the government is now thinking about building real economy. Before, our government have not really been truthful, to the populace. Now the government is now, taking the hard decision. Because really, for you to, when you were in school, you need to be hard on yourself to make this grade. It doesn't come by wishful thinking. You understand? It's not something that you just sit down and say, I will make a first class by the grace of God, and it will happen in Jesus' name. Fire. It is not something that will just happen by wishful thinking. You need to be hard on yourself. Every true prosperity or progress comes through sacrifice. You understand? And when you sacrifice, it may be tough when the sacrifice is going on. But at the end of the day, the only thing that you will produce, the result is always the same. When you sacrifice in the right direction, you will get the result. For example, let's say you earn maybe 10 million naira in a year. And you do your budget, all that you need, your house and everything. You know that, okay, if I really want to live well, do my nails, do everything, I will spend 9 million. And you now cut down on all those things, and you decided to say, let me buy land in a way and keep it for 3 million. And so, your nails, you have not done it, don't worry. And then 2-3 years later, they now announce that land in Mowe is not 30 million. If your 30 million is in your nails, you won't get the 30 million. It may be in your nails. You understand the point? In 3 years' time, or your hair or your wig, it may be, So, but people will be announcing, but land is 30 million. You say, that's good. You will never be part of it. That's the way sacrifice works. So, sacrifice that is being made now will lead to economic prosperity. And you will see that the investors are getting more and more interested in our economy. And it is when investors come that your labor as a lawyer, your experience, your knowledge will matter. It will not matter, it won't become anything if there's nobody to patronize you. You understand the point? It will be anointing without a crowd. It will lead to annoyance. So most of us, don't invest in our practice because we don't see it as a business. So you get to the office of a very senior lawyer. If you get to his bank account, you make 2 billion. If you get to his office, to even put on generator, it's not possible. Except the client is coming, they will quickly put on the generator. The client to come, they will entertain. It's a waste of money. So, but you made the money in practice. Yes. So why can't you put it in practice? Why should it be a waste of money? A client came to your office, pay you 100 million to attend court. You cannot dedicate 1 million per month to buy diesel and ensure that your office is running. I'm talking of if you don't have the money, you can be pardoned. Yes. But when you have money, you make money from the profession. But because they don't see it as business, they believe that money spent on it is a waste. So ask them, why are you paying your junior 100,000 or 80,000? But me also, I suffered. They should also suffer. It's as if we are distributing suffering. It's suffering. As if we are in the ministry of suffering. You understand the point? Without realizing that every expenditure on the practice will keep building the image of the practice. It will keep building the practice, So we don't see it that way because we don't know it's a business. We just see it as a means to an end. And what's the end? You make money there, you buy a house, you rent it out, you buy a house abroad, you send your children abroad. At the end of the day, if you survive, you survive. You understand the point? And that's one of the problems that we are having currently. I pity lawyers that are just graduating. I don't even know where all of them will work, because most of us are not forward looking, don't know business. And I pray that there will be an avenue for us to go and learn.
Amen. Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. We've learned a lot. We learned from capital markets. We've learned business, lawyers as in business. We've learned lawyers in practice. We've even gone to the economy. We've gone outside the country. So we've gone around today in this our discussion, and I'm really grateful for your time. We are grateful for sparing our time to speak to us. The way you were speaking, you were actually speaking from, I would say, aside from enthusiasm, from the knowledge. You've actually known a lot, and you actually spoke about experience, knowledge. You can't speak without having knowledge, Yes, so we thank you for your insights, the perspective you shared with us. I'm very sure that our readers, they are going to learn a lot, and I'm sure that the people that will also watch us, they are going to learn a lot. So thank you. Start coaching.
I'll get there. Really, I agree with you, and I've been speaking to some of my friends in big law firms, that they need to share their experiences, because one of the inspiration, one of the things that one of my inspirations is where I first practiced. If you look at the way this firm is structured, it's exactly the way my first law firm was structured. So there's a way your experience, where you experience will create a picture in your mind. So if your experience is in a law firm that on and off generator, you will have the scarcity mentality. It will, no matter, it will begin to haunt you for the rest of your life. Except you have to break free you have to consciously break free from it. But you know, when I first go there, I said, is it law that they are doing all their, or is there something else outside of law? That was the first experience, my first experience of seeing lawyers charge a lot of money for financing transaction. As at that time, a company was raising about $1 billion, and so they needed a lawyer for the lender and lawyer for the borrower. You know, so they have both Nigerian lawyers for both lender and borrower, and UK lawyer for both lender, and so everybody was working together. We were traveling. I was like, nobody told us this when I was in there. You know, it was an exciting experience to me, and we were doing it, and then they now said, we're feeling what do you call it, this time sheet, time to for charging, and then by the time I heard the amount that was paid, and I began to rethink my life. Because for all my life I've always thought that legal practice is all about going to court. You know, it's all about going to court. So I determined to make a first class in school, so that at least I will be offered a lecturer job. My salary will be certain. Because you know, when you have a lecturing job, your salary is certain. So if money comes from practice, because the only practice I knew was court, you know, but that exposed me to other things that you can use law. I don't know whether they now teach it, but I think we should get to a point where practitioners will be brought to law school to come and speak to students about destructuring, about structural financing, about capital market transactions that happen, what roles lawyers are meant to play in those transactions, about the need for lawyers to understand, financial terms. You understand the point? Because if you don't understand it, the one me that I'm attending to cases that will be coming up in court in the week, I shouldn't be the one reading regulations again. I shouldn't be the one looking at CBN manuals. So people, and our vision, and one thing about also business is that one of the first things we did was to have a clear vision. Our vision is to create a transgenerational legal conglomerate with broad legal expertise and multi-industry specialties. So by necessity, because of that vision, we must keep breaking into department. You know, by the time you guys come, maybe in the next 2-3 years, we should have about 10 departments. We'll keep growing and keep breaking into department. As people grow, for example, there will be a time that we'll have a finance department alone. We are still combining it with finance and projects now. But a time will come that we'll have a finance department, that we'll have an infrastructure department, that we'll have a telecommunication department, that will have, so because that's the way it should be. You start general, but you can't be general. There's no general in legal practice. You can only be deep in one and get others that are deep in other. So that by the time you are rendering advice, you can render quality legal advice.
Thank you so much. Honestly, we sit down here, we can still learn a lot. Thank you so much. I really value your insights. And once again, we thank you for taking our time to thoroughly give us your insights and what you've experienced through your years of practice. So that brings us to the end of our interview today. I thank everyone that has watched and everyone that is reading right now. Thank you very much.